消息。杯子不落地，向生命历历。大家阿弥陀佛. Hello everyone. Welcome to our lecture today. My name is Heng, and we are about to launch into our investigation of the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud. 非常欢迎各位我们快要开始研究虚云老和尚的画传。Now, I have the benefit of a volunteer who has kindly offered to translate into Chinese the things that I'm saying in English. So, if you would like to listen to a Chinese translation, please look to the right-hand corner where it says oops, we got a feedback loop over there. You go to the right-hand corner where it says interpretation, click on the little globe and you will be able to find Chinese. 各位，如果你们想听一种流利的普通话的翻译，那个软体的控制板的右下角有个小地球，那里就 interpretation， 你 click 在那边都可以听到中文感谢我们义工发心帮我讲的英文，他翻译流利的普通话。Also, there will be a Vietnamese translation of everything that I am saying. If you look into the chat box, you'll find Vietnamese option. Click on that link and you'll be able to hear Vietnamese. Also, anybody who in the future would like to request Dharma, there is a way to do it. Go to the chat box and you'll find out how. Now, I'm excited because today's Dharma request is going to be by the current students and the graduating alumni of the girls' school at City of 10,000 Buddhas. So let me bring up our requesting Dharma screen, and can we, these fans are loud, can we turn those off? And we'd like to ask them, please, if they would be so kind to request Dharma now. 你们现在可以开始请法。
恭请大德三听，为此法会及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，速成无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya samputoshe.
Namo sadanto suchetoye alahadi samya samputoshe.
All righty. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。 我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义. Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. All right, well, thank you so much. My goodness, that sounds great. And it's funny, there's a little time lag, and I flip my screen, and there's about a 2-second wait, and that's how long it takes for this image to run down the tubes of the internet all the way to California from down under here in Queensland. And then we hear the voices. May will the Sangha with grace. Sounded just great. That was terrific. Thank you so much. We will continue. We have more to do before our lecture gets underway, which is we need to acknowledge country. And maybe some of the students don't know about this culture, this tradition, but I want everybody to learn it. And let's see, we're here in Queensland, southeast Queensland, but sometimes the lecture comes from California, and the idea is that we, let's say me, I grew up in Ohio, my parents came from Scotland and Ireland through Canada and Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri. So we are immigrants in America, and I am even more so an immigrant here in Australia, which is to say, I came later. There were folks who were here long before I was. And it's appropriate, it's gracious, and I think it's really wise to acknowledge that we stand on the shoulders of people who were here before we were. So what do we say? We say we respectfully acknowledge the Kombumerri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. We pay respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认有冈北语族的贡布马里人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从未放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Now, suppose you were lecturing at City of 10,000 Buddhas, you would say the Pomo people, because City of 10,000 Buddhas used to be called Pomo Tierra. We are by far the latest folks in the door there. When you lecture in Berkeley, California, you talk about the Ohlone people, the Chochenyo Ohlone people. So I think that's a very fine practice to observe. It's been the practice here in Australia for decades now, and it really does extend our presence, and it puts us on a solid foundation of wisdom and culture and insight and connection to the land. That's one of the most important parts, because we are acknowledging country. That is to say that it's very easy, especially in the time of the internet, to kind of get stuck in your head and think that the only thing that matters is your finger swiping left and your eyes looking at the screen. And what a sad life that is, when you can't even acknowledge your body. Your whole life just becomes the text or the image that you're watching on your display, on your computer or your phone readout. And to be able to say, that's a part of life, but it's not the whole story. In fact, we are very much affected by the fact that we are now in the winter solstice. Here in Australia, down under in the southern hemisphere, the solstice, the winter solstice, is the longest day of the year, the shortest night. In the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice is, of course, the shortest day and the longest night. So that's winter and summer solstice, spring and autumn equinox. Those are important moments for our physical bodies. So a lot to learn that we can practice by acknowledging country. Okay, speaking of which, oh my goodness, when you talk about country, what country are we talking about? For example, right this minute, there are 80 folks who are listening in on Zoom, and as this is being live streamed out to YouTube, it's going to go further, and it's also going out on a Chinese channel. But the folks who are with us here are, when we say acknowledging country, what country do we acknowledge? Well, how about the Gold Coast of Queensland? How about Fremont, California? How about Vancouver, British Columbia? Cascade, Colorado. Bill is here. Brian is here from Campbell. Let's see here. Putoshan. Cliff is listening from Putoshan. Hello to Cliff and the family. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Chloe. Hi, Sunny. Today, Master Empty Cloud goes to Putoshan. So you're there, by golly. Sunnyvale, California, Saratoga, California, Montreal, La Belle Province de Quebec, Singapore, Beijing, let's see here, Alameda, Guangdong Sheng, Foshan Shi, okay, Berkeley, California. Jaita is online. She was there last night, present. Let's see here, Jakarta, Indonesia, Seattle, Washington, Kuala Lumpur, Gold Coast. Let's see here, Waterloo, Ontario, Los Angeles, San Rafael, San Jose. How about that? I just get a thrill thinking that the whole world has joined us. St. Petersburg, Florida, Mesa, Arizona, Pinole, California. Sam is listening under the weather from next door. Elk Grove, California, Seattle, Oklahoma. Where else here? Virginia, Pleiku, Vietnam, Vancouver, Santa Barbara, and then Taipei, Jiujiang, Beijing, Inner Mongolia, Baotou, okay, Harbin, Hangzhou, Chaoyang, Shandong, Jiujiang, Liaoning, Heilongjiang. I think we pretty much figured out that there are more people from Manchuria than anywhere else, and I think that has a lot to do with Shifu's influence in the Dharma. Anhui, Suzhou, Baoji, Shanxi. Let's see here, Quanzhou, Fujian. 还有河北唐山, Jiangsu, Zhenjiang, Nanjing. Let's see, where else? My goodness, Hainan Shi, okay. A lot of our Vietnamese friends in Berkeley have ancestors from Hainan. They were probably traders on the ocean. Guangdong, Zhongnanshan, okay, that's the first time. 法师欢迎, Let's see here, Jinan, Shanghai, Suzhou, Shanghai, Changchun, and 洛杉矶. 洛杉矶是中国哪里? 没有了. Okay, good. Thank you all for joining. We're glad you're here. Cliff says, Amitofo. We're going to run right over to our text. Here it is. Master Empty Cloud is now 32, between 32 and 35 age. It's the 10th to the 13th year of the Tongzhi imperial reign. It is 1871. Amazing to think that he was 30 years old in 1870. Just amazing. Okay, are we ready? Let's read it. Can we read it all together? Let's see. I'll give you a line and you give it back to me. Let's do it that way. And those of you who are still learning your characters, you can read the romanization. Okay, ready? Here, I'll give you a line, you give it back. 敬老人时有启发，敬老不必合掌。I automatically 合掌，这不是经典，这是故事。OK， 法师年余来齐。OK， 戒律精严，宗教并通，令公多产讲座，以利游方，名望国清禅寺，参学禅堂制度。智方广寺，习法华经，下思5岁2年， right? That 那个念萨4 5岁2年 ，OK。住国清寺，习经教，时至茅庵半径老人。Alrighty, there we go. Now, for the English, we will read slowly together. And y'all, my voice is going this way, and I'm speaking loudly, so y'all can hear me and follow the breath, follow the punctuation, and we can make it sound really nice. Ready? Here we go. Next, the Venerable Master Rongjing taught the Master in order to develop his understanding. Master Rongjing was over 80 years old and maintained the moral code strictly. He understood the teachings and had mastered the practices of Chan meditation. He told the Master to attend sutra lectures. It was beneficial to visit other monasteries, so he had the Master visit Guoqing Dhyana Monastery and join their Chan meditation practices. He also advised the Master to go to Fangguang, which is expansive, monastery to study the Dharma Flower Sutra. From age 34 to 35, the Master stayed at Guoqing Monastery and studied the teachings of the sutras. On occasion, he would visit Venerable Master Rongjing's cottage. All right, now, folks, remember what was going on. It was that Master Empty Cloud had been living in the mountains. He was absolutely a wild man. He was out there. He didn't have any clothes to wear, basically. His hair was down, covered his torso. He never ate cooked food, even. The food that he ate was just what he could gather from the trees and drank the water of the streams. And he was very happy to live that way. But at one point, luckily, he had affinities with a shan zhishi, a good and wise teacher. And the good and wise teacher sent out a young monk to tell him that he needed to come in. He really did. So this young monk, how did he get Master Empty Cloud to agree? He asked him for instruction. He said, "Could you please teach me some Dharma?" Master Empty Cloud felt ashamed and said, "I really can't. I don't know any Dharma. I'm a ascetic meditator. I don't know anything to share with you." And so the young monk said, "Well, I tell you what, I know a good teacher, and his name is Elder Master Rongjing. Come ask him for Dharma. He is the real good and wise advisor for our time, and he will certainly instruct you." So he did. Master Empty Cloud went down, and the old monk said to him, "What are you? Are you a Taoist? Are you a Buddhist? Are you an immortal?" He said. And Empty Cloud said, "I'm a monk. I've taken the complete precepts in the past." So the elder said, "You're a monk, but you know what? You're on the wrong path." He said, "If you keep going like you are, practicing the practices that you're doing," he said, "what's going to happen is you're going to preserve your body. You could live 10,000 years, but you don't know anything about your mind." He said, "You're going to become an immortal, a rishi, a sage in the mountains, but you're going to have no wisdom at all. You won't be able to help anybody else except yourself." So he said that to Master Empty Cloud, and Empty Cloud said, "You know what? You're right. May I study with you?" And he bowed to him. He said, "Will you take me as your student?" And the elder monk said, "Here's the deal," he said. "If you stay here and I give you instruction and you accept and you follow my instructions, you can stay." He says, "As soon as you don't do what I tell you, hit the road." Said, "It's my way or the highway here. That's it." Master Empty Cloud said, "Of course, That's the reason I came, is because I want your instructions. So that was last week. Now, look what he did. He came down, and the title of this is Bo Ro Tang Xi Chan Zhi, in the Prajna Hall, studying how to sit Chan, how to do meditation. So he started to accept instruction from this Master Rongjing, who was truly wise, who had the Dharma had worked with his mind, and he was able to speak from his nature and have it correspond with the Dharma. So, what did it say? The elder monk was 80 years old, right? And he was a strict Vinaya code. He followed the rules. He understood the Dharma, and he was a real meditator. So look what he told him. He said, go listen to the sutras. Ya Ting Jing. When there is a jiangzuo, when there's a lecture, go listen. So you can understand that Master Empty Cloud, at this point, remember we heard about when he walked, it was like he was flying. He forgot his body. His body and the mountains were one and the same, no different. And so the problem was he had emptied out his mind, but he hadn't filled it with Dharma. So now he's just like an empty vessel pouring clear, pure water into his Buddha nature. So everything he heard, he remembered. Now, Master Rongjing said, not only do I want you to listen to my sutra lectures, I want you to go out to the monasteries in the area, in Zhejiang province, and listen to the Dharma. So where did he go? He went to Guoqing Si. There it is, Guoqing Jiang Si. You're looking at one of the main gates of Guoqing Jiang Si. This is my photo from 2013, a decade ago, Guoqing Si. National purity, purifying the nation. Here it's called Chan Si, but it's also called Jiang Si. It's a place where the Dharma is practiced through sutra lectures. Why? This is the place that Zhi, the great master Zhi, where he, before the Tang Dynasty, in the 5th century, this is where he did his teaching. Chinese Buddhism became its own thing, separate from Indian Buddhism at Guoqing Si. There on Tiantai Shan, Heavenly Vista. That's why it's called the Tiantai Teachings. So he went to Fangguang Monastery to study the Lotus Sutra, Dharma Flower Sutra is the Lotus Sutra. And from 34 to 35, Master Xuyun stayed at Guoqing Monastery and studied the sutras. Then he would come back and pay a visit to Master Rongjing. Look at the picture. Oh, Chan Tang, the Chan Hall. What's everybody doing? They're meditating. They're sitting in Chan, right? See them all sitting there with their shoes under the bench. Here is the head of the hall. He's got incense lit. It's very calm there. It says Chan Hall. So here at Gokostama Realm, our Chan Hall hasn't appeared yet. We're in the process. Dharma Master Jin Fu and Dharma Master Heng Lai and others are talking, planning, looking at the lay of the land, thinking how can we create a Chan Hall here in Australia that will attract meditators from the whole world. No, we're not limited to southeastern Queensland by any means. So that's the picture. What is Shifu's verse? Shifu's verse says, 十方聚会般若堂，喜穴无为见性王。宣佛场中考功过，谁的心空几地归？ Now， 大家不要看错，这不是说我们要见姓王的人，不是那个姓。 啊，姓王的我们要看见他啊，未见姓王啊，不是。Okay, so Chinese pun. The assembly of the 10 directions gathers in the Prajna hall. They practice the unconditioned to see the sublime Buddha nature. In the Buddha selecting hall, they try their very best. Those who realize the mind's emptiness attain ultimate success. Beautiful verse that Shifu wrote. Now, so we hear about this. Now, mind you, when was this? This is the 19th century. This is 1870. I mean, what was going on in Australia in 1870? America had just finished its Civil War. It was in the Reconstruction period. And Guoqing Monastery had been there, flourishing, thriving, training monks for, at that point, 1,200 years, right? So let's get serious about history. I remember studying Chinese at Berkeley. One of my professors was from China, Professor Li, and he said, "You Americans," he said, "you have no sense of history whatsoever. You have no idea what history is." And I can say the same to you Australians. You have no idea what history is. He says, "Do you know?" He says, "Outside in my village," he said, "there's a stone bridge outside my village in southern China." He said, "Do you know that 2 dynasties were settled by wars? Armies fought over that stone bridge. Whoever won became the emperor." He said, "We had a concubine hang herself, commit suicide off our stone bridge back in the Song Dynasty. That was 1,100 years ago." He says, "Here in California, you know what they've got? They have a historic barn. That barn's been there for 40 years. They consider it a relic." He said, "We had concubines hang themselves off the bridge, and wars and armies, emperors walked on the, He said, "You're all young. You don't know history." Okay, so we hear about Guoqing Monastery. What is Guoqing Monastery like? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Guoqing Monastery looks like this. Sui Dai Gu Cha, the ancient monastery from the Sui dynasty. When was the Sui dynasty? 6th century. This monastery has been there since 540, something like that. More famous monks have come through, including Master Xuyun Lecture, including Master Empty Cloud. Here is the abbot, Master Yongguan. Here's Dharma Master Lai, there's Guoji. Master Yongguan is a buddy. He's got a great sense of humor, as you can tell. He's a builder. He's an innovator. He has taken Guoqing Monastery and made it thrive again. Who is this? This is Han Shan, Shi De, and Feng Gan, the famous Han Shan poet at the Coal Mountain. He was there at Ben. This is Han Shan. This is the Han Shan and Shi De. We translate the poetry of Master Han Shan with Heng Lai every week. Let's see here. Here is their 500 Arhats hall, Wu Bai Luo Han Tang. Now, each one, it's amazing. There are 500 Arhats in this hall. Not 2 of them have the same expression. Every single one has its own character. These Arhats, I think, I'm not sure if they survived the Cultural Revolution, but they are magnificent. They are brilliant. This is the kitchen where Shi De, the companion of Han Shan, would sneak food and give it to Han Shan. Han Shan was a rebel. He was, the monks didn't like him. He was a troublemaker. He didn't follow the rules, so they chased him. This is the kitchen. It hasn't changed. They still fire the woks with bamboo. Here are the woks that have been there all this time. That's the rice pot. Okay, you cooks, 进行时煮饭的锅. 多大呢？你看那个 And this is, oh, here we go, right? 从寒山那个时候到现在还在。唐朝. These are Tang Dynasty. This is the spring in the kitchen where the water comes. This spring was there when Han Shan was in the world. There are goldfish in there. So goldfish spit in the water. But wow, I mean, this is history, right? This is Guoqing Si. Master Empty Cloud drank that water, right? Oh my goodness. Now, the architecture there is everybody's image of what a Chinese monastery should look like. It's just splendid. And monk after monk, famous monks of history have all been to Guoqing Monastery, including our teacher, including Shifu Shangren. Now, around Guoqing, around there on Tiantai Shan, maybe in order to continue, we should take a break here from the photos, because I've got many photos from the area around Guoqing Si. This is a Sui Dynasty pagoda, a Ta, Bao Ta, Sui Chao. Okay, beautiful architecture. It's built on a hillside and it goes up. Let's see here. This is the one of the plazas outside. You see those lions have been there forever. This is the famous word miao, shuo miao fa zang. Master Zhizhe explained the word miao for 90 days. 讲不完，还没讲完，90天了。说妙法藏. He explained wonderful, the word wonderful. So this first word of the Lotus Sutra, Miao Fa Lian Hua Jing, took him 90 days to finish the word Miao. So that's quality Dharma talk. So I have a lot more photos, but it's not all of Guoqing Si. It's from Tiantai. This is their Fo Shui Yuan. This here's Master Yunguan, and these are the faculty. This is the teaching staff of the Buddha Studies Academy, and these are the young monks who inspire the other young monks to come and leave home. We saw them in 2013 and met them. You can see they liked Heng Lai. Heng Lai, he showed them pictures of Xueshan Si in Seattle with the snow, and they really liked that. So we came back 5 years later. All of these monks were still there. They said, 何必下山呢？这里是我们靠近天堂，比较近，在这里，不想下山，我们要继续教书。They said, we want to continue teaching here. Why would you leave? We're closer to heaven here. They said, it's wonderful. At Wan Nian Si, 10,000 year Chan monastery, right? So you know when the teaching faculty don't go, you know it's a good place. So we also went to a local Taoist monastery, Daoguan. Oh, here is Han Shan's cave. Han Shan says it's really hard to get to my place. This is it. The joys of Tiantai Shan and Guoqing Monastery. This is taken from inside Han Shan's cave, looking out. Right? Han Shan says, nobody can get to my cave. Okay, let's see here. And this is where Master Zhizhe taught, Zhizhe Taoyuan. All right, so that's Tiantai Shan. That's where Master Empty Cloud would go. The 500 Arhat statues are still there. Yes, they certainly are. Okay, now back to our text. Are we ready? Okay, I'll give you a line. Let's see. 朝南海铺头山，大家说朝南海铺头山，光绪元年乙亥，公36岁，至高明寺，听明熙法师讲《法华经》毕，与敬老人谈书戏，珍重而别，下山经学斗，到岳林寺，听弥陀经毕，济渡海，朝蒲头山，遍礼当时诸善知识，至法语寺度岁。Okay, are we ready? Here we go. In the first year of the Guangxu reign period, the cyclical year Yihai, 1875, when the master was 36, he arrived at Gaoming Tower of Light Monastery. After listening to Dharma Master Min Shi, Clever Brilliance, expound the Dharma Flower Sutra, the master spent several evenings speaking with the Venerable Master Rongjing. Then he said goodbye and took his leave. He walked down the mountain, passed through Xuedou, and arrived at Yueling, which is Mountain Peak Grove Monastery, where he heard an explanation of the Amitabha Sutra. The master then crossed the ocean to visit Putor Mountain, where he bowed to all the wise advisors at the monasteries there. He spent New Year's at Fa Yu Dharma Rain Temple. Okay, so here's the news. It is 1875. He is 36 years old. And understand, at age 36, he only has 88 years to go. No, 84 years to go in his life. Age 36, he's not even a third of the way through. He lived to be 120. So he has been with his teacher, following instructions. His teacher told him to listen to the sutras, right? And he has done so. He's done a really good job of that. And he now went to Tiantaishan, to Guoqing Si for 2 years, and he is now because China this is the Qing dynasty, Buddhism was still flourishing, so he had many opportunities to listen to sutras. So he did. There's a famous monk Min Shi who would explain the Fa Hua Jing, the Lotus Sutra. Dharma Flower Sutra is also called Lotus Sutra. So he listened to the Fa Hua Jing, and then he went back to Master Rongjing, who was now 82, and he said, "Time for me to go. I want to listen to more sutras." So he said goodbye and took his leave. Said goodbye to his good and wise advisor. But everywhere he went on his travels, he took advantage of the sutras being explained and listened it. So he went down through a place called Xuedou and went to Mountain Peak Grove Monastery. He heard somebody explain the Amitabha Sutra. We'd done it all last week. The master crossed the ocean to Putoshan, where he bowed to the wise advisors at the monasteries there, and he spent New Year's at Fa Yu Si, Dharma Rain Temple. Our teacher, Master Empty Cloud, Master Shenhua, Shifu Shangren, took the precepts at Fa Yu Temple. So we've got a connection there. Here he is. He's on his pilgrimage now, officially on pilgrimage. He's got his hat, he's got his monk's staff. You see he's just got off a boat. There's ocean water, salt water. Notice the hairstyle of the layman here. That's the queue, the long braid that people had to wear, the ponytails. And he is visiting Puto and Loche. Now, let me tell you, let's look at the verse first. Here we go. Nanhai Puto Loche Shan Guan Yin Hua Du Shui Jing Tian Shan Nan Xin Yu Lai Chao Bai Song Zhi Ba Bai Ying Yi Qian. Okay. At Nanhai and Potola Mountains monasteries, Guanyin Bodhisattva crosses over beings at the celestial crystal palace. Virtuous men and faithful women come to bow in respect. From near and far, the pilgrims come and go without cease. All right. How about that? Shifu's verses are so good. Now, the idea is that Putoshan is one of what are called the four holy mountains, right? People know about the holy mountains. There's the four holy mountains are dedicated to the four great bodhisattvas, and of course that includes. Let's see here. Save that one, and save that one. Okay, and save that one, and save that one. Okay. This is kind of interesting synchronicity. So there we go. Okay, now let's see how we're doing here. All right, select, and we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The fun part about having our community is that these are pictures from Putoshan that were taken yesterday. Amazing. Baibusha Puji Si Putoshan Dajiudian, taken by Cliff yesterday at Putoshan. Let's see here. There they are. Maggie and Chloe. Where? At Putoshan yesterday. So, Namo Amitofo, says the sign. The idea is that here we are, Puji-chan Si, Puji-chan Monastery. Putoshan has been a pilgrimage site for hundreds and hundreds of years, right? Shituo, what is that? Pantoshi, right? Pantoshi. Famous sites where pilgrims from all over China and Taiwan and the Buddhist world go to Namo Guan Shi Yin Pusa to pay their respects to Guanyin Bodhisattva's sacred sites. Yuantong Chan, oops, one more time. This is many, you have to climb the stairs to go up to Yuantong Chan Lin. There have been many, Laila Jiuhao, many miracles from Putoshan where Guanyin Bodhisattva appears to people, these sacred sites. Now, what is it? Putoshan, there we go. Putoshan is it's two islands. To get to Putoshan, it's off the coast. It's in the South China Sea. It's called a mountain, Puto Mountain. Potola is the name of the Sanskrit name. And it's two islands, Puto and Lochie. Putoshan is the larger one, Lochie is the smaller. And you get on a ferry from Ningbo or from Shanghai, and it takes you overnight, and you arrive in the morning at Putoshan. It's been a pilgrimage site for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and the miracles around Guanyin Bodhisattva appearing have been happening forever. As long as Putoshan has been a sacred site, it's because Guanyin Bodhisattva would appear. And Master Hua took the full precepts there. He ordained there because it was such a sacred site to Guanyin Bodhisattva devotees. During the Cultural Revolution, it was razed, burned to the ground. There wasn't much left. But a wise, savvy monk called Miao Shan Ba Shi built it back. And he was politically astute and also a real hands-on monk. So he rebuilt Putoshan. It's now thriving, and we'll have to ask Cliff and Sunny and the girls if they saw Guanyin, whether Guanyin is still appearing, but I think Guanyin is likely still appearing. There are many stories, many stories about Guanyin Bodhisattva's marvelous appearances at Putoshan. And the one that we all love is Man Yiping. Man Yiping was from Manchuria. She grew up in the same village as our teacher. And when Master Hua invited 100 monks, nuns, and laymen to come to City of 10,000 Buddhas, to Da Shui Lu, she was part of the group. She had an opportunity. She was famous, Man Lao Ju Shi. She belonged to the Wan Guo Dao De Hui, the 10,000 nations Wei virtue, the virtue of the Wei society. And the Wan Guo Dao De Hui was, it flourished in the 20th century, particularly in Manchuria, in Harbin, where she was a young girl, and then she married, became a mom. But she was, Man Yiping was good at Chen Dao. She could encourage people to cultivate. That was, the Dao De Hui was about that. It was just exhorting people to do good, to be better people, to be virtuous. She was good at it. And essentially, what your stock and trade, if you're a lecturer from the Dao De Hui, is you have stories. Man Yiping had so many stories, endless stream of stories about people who were mean-tempered, who were angry, who were just out and out bad, and they heard the Dharma, they had a turning point in their life, and they changed, and they overcame their nasty negativity and became wholesome people. She had hundreds of stories like that. She was so good that the Dao De Hui had competitions in China to see who was number one at Chen Dao, right? Who was the best at exhorting people to cultivate. So Man Yiping followed the group, came to America, and the two monks in charge were Master Mingyang and, of course, Shifu, who was the host. So because Master Xuyun Hua invited Mingyang Fa Shi, who was the number one monk in China, to come to City of 10,000 Buddhas, Mingyang Fa Shi, before he went back, he said, Xuan Lao, he said, we want to invite some of your disciples to come to China. And of course, our ears just turned up into sharp points, you know. Maybe me? So Mingyang Fa Shi said, you pick. So Shifu said, all right, you and you and you. So I got to come. And along with the group, Shifu said, Man Lao Zhi, he said, you want to come as our guide? We'll go to Putoshan. And oh, she burst into tears. She said, oh, I always wanted to go see Guanyin Bodhisattva. Oh, I just wanted to bow to Guanyin my whole life, but I never had the chance. She said, I was too young, and then I got married, and oh, she cried. She was so happy. Why are you crying, Manjushi? Oh, I'm so happy. And so she said, who would think that I came to America to get invited to go to Putoshan? So she joined our group. And she was just thrilled. She had this habit of reciting the Pumanpin. And the Universal Door chapter of the Lotus Sutra. And she recited it from memory, and she did it every day. So we got on the ferry at Ningbo and overnight, huge, big ocean-going ferry. And so the next morning we get out, and we hear that there's this one particular place on Putoshan called Fan Yin Dong, Brahma Sound Cave, Fan Yin Dong. And they say if Guanyin Bodhisattva is going to show up, that's where it'll be. So we, everybody, and what you do is you go out, and they say it's over there. So you go walking, and you can't see it. It's just like, well, that's the ocean. You know, this is an island. It's a small island. And so they say, no, that's it. And you go over to the edge where the waves are breaking, and you're getting splashed, right, with salt water. And there's a ladder. There's a green, painted, heavy-duty steel ladder bolted into the cliff. So you step out off the cliff, turn around, and go backwards down the ladder. I mean, you turn your back to the ocean, and the waves are now breaking over your head, and you go down, and there's this little space. It's about as big as from the glass case here to the edge. That's all. And if you are sincere, Guanyin Bodhisattva appears to you there. That's how it works. So everybody, you know, goes down. They're like looking for Guanyin. Is she this big, or is she, you know, what do you? I don't see anything. So people kind of, you know, and then they go, one by one go back up the ladder. Well, Maniping was there, kneeling, reciting the Pumanping, reciting Universal Door chapter. And so I also recited the Universal Door chapter. So I thought I better take care of her. She's the last one here. She's already 80 years old, you know. So she's there reciting, and I hear this, and I look, and her eyes are just like this, and tears are coming out of her eyes, and she's, oh, Guanyin Pusa shi zhen de, she said. She says, who would think that Guanyin Bodhisattva is real? It's true, she said. And I'm like, okay. And so she's like crying, and so I said, Man Lao Zhi, we should go up. And so she said, oh, and she bows and bows and bows. So I escort her up to the top, and everybody said, where were you? We've been waiting up here. I said, Maniping saw Guanyin Pusa. And everyone's like, oh, what? So maybe we should, so she says, there she was. She was a maiden, a young girl, wearing a white robe, and just as sweet and innocent and pure and true as all the pictures. And you could just see that Maniping, basically she could have died and gone to heaven right then, and she would have thought it was worth it. That was the deal. She saw Guanyin Pusa at Fan Yin Dong, there in Putoshan. So how amazing that this was 1989, and Guanyin Pusa is still appearing to people who are sincere. Now, the other people didn't see, because maybe they hadn't spent their entire life reciting the Pumanpin every day. So Guanyin Pusa shows up to people who are sincere. And pretty amazing that this kind of miraculous appearance could happen, into this wonderful. So Maniping finally went back to China and left home, became a nun. There you go. So, okay, that is our story. What does it say? Nanhai Puto Lo Qie Shan Guanyin Hua Du Shui Jing Tian Shan Nan Xin Nu Lai Chao Bai Song Zhi Ba Bai Ying Yi Qian. At Nanhai, in the Southern Ocean, in Potala Mountains monasteries, Guanyin Bodhisattva crosses over beings at the celestial crystal palace. Virtuous men and faithful women, of which Maniping was one, come to bow in respect. From near and far, the pilgrims come and go without cease. There you go, pilgrims at Puto Shan. All right, thank you everybody. I know you've all had, just now we've had lunch here and people are digesting lunch, and an hour is just about right for after lunch lecture. I wanted to let people know that here in Gold Coast on New Year's Day, look what happens here. We've got a chance to ring our big bell. We have a huge bell here on the property with the Shurangama mantra inscribed on it. And that'll be the day in the morning we ring the bell from 7:30 to 8:15. Make a wish, ring the bell, disturb the neighbors, haha. And then we will recite the Lengyan Zhou for 12 hours, starting at 8:30. So that is our Fa Hui coming up on our Shurangama Mantra Dharma Assembly on January 1st, Yang Li, Zheng Ye Chu Yi. So if people want to know more, go to gcdr.org.au. Down at the bottom, see that at the bottom of the screen down there? gcdr.org.au or gcdrchinese.com, and you will find out more. All right? Okay, thank you for the photos, Cliff, and I was happy to share the pictures of Guoqing Si with everybody. Very special place. If anybody has a chance to go to Tiantaishan, definitely you want to visit Guoqing Si. It really has that energy. Now, because we want the Buddha Dharma to help the world. Right now, in the Middle East, there is a tremendous amount of suffering that falls right under the vows of Medicine Buddha. There are people starving, dying of thirst, and lack of medicine. The hospitals in Gaza are gone, and yet there's more injured people every day. So if we can recite Medicine Buddha's mantra sincerely and send out the goodness, I think we can make a difference. So that's where I'm going to transfer my merit. You can transfer wherever you choose. Here it is on the screen. Everybody remembers, we did this for a couple years during COVID. 药师观定真言。Samyak Sambuddhaya Yata Saje Saje Saja Samukate Saha Saja can say it. Arahate samyak sambuddhaya adhyata om asaje asaje nisadya samgate sa. One more time. Last chance. Asaje, asaje, aesadya, samgate swana. Okay, may it be so. Okay, we can do right from where you're sitting, we can do 3 half bows. Here we go. First half bow. And second half bow. One shin. San one shin. Okay. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. One shin. Half bow. Half bow. Okay, thanks once again to the young girls for your Dharma requests. That was terrific. We'll see you all next week. Same time, same place. Amitofo. Bye now. Bye.